Raise your hand. And by raise your hand, I mean say yes. Yes, that's me. Raise your hand if you've ever ate at Pizza Hut back in the day where you could actually go in, sit down. They had a nice like buffet going on. There were little like glass chandeliers, the red Pizza Hut logo in it, and oh man, those were the days. Well, sad story. Pizza Hut is on the decline. What happened? Let's find out a little bit.
Pizza Hut is what I would consider an iconic American brand. Thinking back, they were kind of like the perfect family restaurant. Honestly, how many of you watching this have these great memories of eating there with your family?
Yeah, we just
Maybe
talked
a
about
birthday
that.
party there,
Yes.
maybe participated in their Book It reading program where you earned one of those colorful
Oh
pieces.
my
My
God.
favorite, a personal pan pizza.
Yes. Tell me in school you guys had the Book It like fundraiser and you got the free personal pan pizza and you just loved it. Like winning that, going to Pizza Hut and getting a free personal pan pizza was the best, right?
It would sure take a lot to get that pizza, but it was on another level. I'm sure that many of us have similar memories involving Pizza Hut, which is why it's upsetting to see them like this. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying that they are in any immediate danger of shutting down. Pizza Hut is still pretty stable, and I'm guessing that they are going to be with us for quite a while. But I do have strong evidence to suggest that Pizza Hut has seen better days. In 2019, they announced that they would be closing 500 of their 7,500 US locations over the next 2 years. It's part of their long-term plan that involves closing underperforming restaurants and replacing them. I'll touch more on
Anything
that
a personal
later, but
pizza
for the
deal,
time
some of
being,
it true.
that is a significant downsizing. In fact, the president of the company, along with other top executives, have expressed that they haven't been happy with Pizza Hut's overall performance. Looking at their sales over the past few years, they have actually been fairly consistent, which may not seem like much of an issue, but it is concerning. See, when we
That's not
compare
going up.
that
Sure.
to
Inflation.
Domino's, I think
Right.
we start to see the problem. When they say that no one out-pizzas the Huts, I don't exactly know what that means, but it might not be true anymore.
But that was a good that was a good slogan though, right? No one out pizzas the Hut. Like that's kind of a good slogan. And I'm sure we'll get into it in the video, but I don't know about you guys, but Pizza Hut pizza just doesn't do it for me anymore. I feel like their pizza is like razor thin. It's not thick anymore. There's not a lot of toppings to it. Like it's just very, very thin. I don't like it. I still love their stuffed crust, don't get me wrong, but like just the stuffed crust of it. The rest of the pizza has gotten just kind of like greasy and like really thin. And there's so many other There's so many other pizza places that do pizzas really good nowadays and even offer stuffed crust. So I absolutely agree with so far.
70s and even well into the 1980s, anyone who was around at the time can tell you that Pizza Hut used to be the national pizza chain. They were a national pizza chain before there were national pizza chains. People had to make the choice.
It's gone down for sure.
Or to Pizza Hut. Any other popular chain that you can think of today was not a factor on a national scale until at least the 1980s. Then, over those next few decades, things got more competitive. Some of those smaller chains started closing the gap, but Pizza Hut still remained on top. That is until 2018. As we saw in the graph, Domino's took over that #1 spot, and over the next few years have only extended that lead. That's meaningful. After 47 years, the world's #1 pizza chain, Pizza Hut, has fallen to second place, and a distant second at that. In that same year, 2018, I actually asked the audience of this channel, what is your favorite of the big four pizza chains? And after 46,000 votes, Domino's was the clear winner over the second place Pizza Hut. I believe further suggesting that people have moved away from
that. Okay, let's talk about this. So behind me is Pizza Hut, right? Pizza at 27%, Domino's at 42. Domino's it's not terrible. The garlic sauce really helps out, right? I feel like people get is it Papa John's does the garlic sauce, right? It's Papa John. Yeah, Papa John's is the garlic sauce. Yeah, Papa John's I feel like is making big strides. Like it's very good. Get some garlic sauce with the butter. Ooh, it's good. But yeah, Pizza Hut, man, their pizzas just aren't the same anymore. Domino's, I feel like it might be unpopular opinion. I feel like Domino's and Little Caesars are like even. Right, guys? Papa John's, of these four, Papa John's, Domino's and Little Caesars, and then Pizza Hut. right? I feel like that's where we're at. Always go Papa John's. Papa John's king. Papa John's the best. Yeah. Wait, is Greco Canadian thing? Probably, 'cause I don't know what that is. Domino's has good sandwiches, but their pizzas suck. Yeah. I feel like it's on par with Little
More
Caesars.
evidence would be the fact that their biggest franchise,
Some are good,
NBC
man.
International, filed for bankruptcy in July of 2020. They were the ones who operated about 20% of the U.S. Pizza Hut locations. Of course, there were some other factors involved in that one, but it's not a good indicator of the state of the brand. Plus, it later led to an additional 300 restaurant closings. And then finally, what about the logo change? Through most of their dominant years throughout the 70s, 80s, and 90s, this was their logo. Then, in 1999,
Let's talk about it, chat. What do you got? You can't beat it for $5. So they had a stuffed crust pizza there for a little while that was actually really good. But yeah, for $5, you really can't. It's not terrible. Like, come on, guys. Let's talk about the Pizza Hut logo change. Thoughts? Thumbs up, thumbs down, yes, no, maybe so. I don't mind the change, right? I think all companies need to go through some kind of alteration or change to stay current with the time, right? This Pizza Hut logo on the left, the original one, very old, outdated, like it served its time. This Pizza Hut, it's new, it's sleek, it's artistic. I don't mind the change. Like, having this new logo didn't drive me away from Pizza Hut. Their pizza did, not their logo. But what do you guys think of the change in their logo?
they changed it. They added more colors and slanted everything. But then 20 years later, in 2019, they went back to that old logo. According to their chief brand officer at the time, embracing our iconic Pizza Hut logo is recognition of a time period where Pizza Hut unequivocally reigns supreme because that's where the future is headed. I take that to mean that the old logo represents a better time for Pizza Hut, and that bringing it back will remind the customers of those better times. I hope that we can at least agree that Pizza Hut has indeed seen better times. They've lost a lot of control of their market, and in this video, I'm going to attempt to explain why. The very first Pizza Hut opened in Wichita, Kansas in 1958, and it could not have been more modest in the beginning. It was two brothers named Frank and Dan Carney. They borrowed $600 from their mom and used it to buy used equipment and rent out a small building not too far from a university. I thought it was interesting that they called their first restaurant Pizza Hut mostly because they obtained this sign that had only enough room for so many letters. And you know, of course they wanted to use the word pizza, so that meant that their second word can only be 3 letters. They eventually settled on the word hut, and that was the beginning of the brand. If they had a bigger sign, things may have gone much differently. Early on, they valued quality pizza, good service, and believed in it so much that on their opening night, they gave away their pizzas to try to attract a customer base. It was an effective promotion, the restaurant did well, and after about a year, they were able to convince a friend of theirs to operate the first franchise location in Topeka, Kansas. It's also worth mentioning that part of their marketing early on,
that's probably why Pizza failed. It's from Kansas.
Typical mascot named Pizza Pete. I believe that it was meant to double as a fun cartoon for the kids while promoting the Italian authenticity of their food. Pizza itself wasn't nearly as well known or popular at the time, so something like that was effective in drawing in customers and creating a fun environment. They adopted that red roof logo, started designing the restaurants in the same manner, and continued franchising more and more locations across the United States and even into other countries like Canada and Germany, and by 1971, Pizza Hut had over 1,000 locations, making them the biggest chain of pizza restaurants in the world. 6 years later, when they had more than doubled to over 2,000 locations, they were bought by PepsiCo, and it was Pepsi that was able to take them to an even higher level, surpassing 5,000 locations in less than a decade after the acquisition, and surpassing 7,500 locations when they spun it off, along with the rest of the restaurant division, into its own company that was owned by the public. If you want more details about their time with Pepsi,
I wonder what they sold for.
That, I do recommend this other video that I made about Pepsi, but that new company that it was now a part of was initially called Tricon Global Restaurants, but soon renamed to Yum Brands, which is how they exist today. Right now, it consists mainly of KFC, Pizza Hut, and Taco Bell, though some people have expressed the opinion that Pizza Hut has been the one holding them back and should be divested. Now, when looking at the reasons behind
guys, can we talk about Taco Bell and KFC, though? I mean, here's the thing. You talk about gut rot from all of those places. Taco Bell, do you only eat there after the bar or when you're high? You know what I'm saying? KFC, every time I've been to a KFC, it's always been super greasy. It hasn't been like the greatest. But like, what are your guys' thoughts on KFC and Taco Bell? Okay. Fun fact, cheese in commercials is actually glue. No, it's not. Is that a thing? We got KFC, Taco Bell. Thoughts?
Pizza Hut, I think most of it can be explained by two main issues. The first one being a lack of catchy menu items, and I realize that this might sound so trivial when you first hear it, but let me explain. Today, seemingly every fast food restaurant has a never-ending sequence of new items that are pumpkin-flavored or Cheeto-flavored or whatever, but Pizza Hut was somewhat of a pioneer at this, to a point where I would even say that these catchy, innovative menu items were once a major part of their success. A couple of examples of what I would consider to be more gimmicky ones would be the edge, with toppings way closer to the edge of the pizza than they should be.
Yes,
or
yes,
the
yes.
New Yorker, both introduced in the late 1990s. They sold pretty well.
I remember those.
People coming back to Pizza Hut. But then there's other examples of new menu items that they introduced that I would truly call innovative. Some examples there would be in 1980 when they came out with the pan pizza, or in 1995 when they came out with the stuffed crust pizza, famously promoted by Donald Trump. There are countless.
Love me stuffed crust.
Pizza Hut once had one of the most creative menus out there, which unfortunately may not be the case anymore. In late 2014, you may be surprised to hear this, but Pizza Hut announced an all-new menu. They called it Flavor of Now and described it as their biggest evolution ever. I mean, this was meant to be a big deal. They had new new sauces, new crust flavors, new drizzles. Just
I remember them doing like different ingredients and stuff. Yeah. Okay. Didn't they also do like the pizza like roll up things, kind of like pinwheels, right? Didn't they do that as well?
Their entire menu to make it appear fresh and more upper scale. And to go along with that new menu, they updated their website, the boxes, the uniforms, the logo.
That's the current one, right?
Was to shift their customer
base
away
Pizza Hut looks now,
and more specifically toward millennials. I'm gonna go ahead and guess that most of you barely remember this happening, or maybe not at all, because the whole Flavor of Now attempt was pretty much a failure. As we've already seen, it did nothing at all to help their sales. If anything,
oh my god. Yeah, it's so bad. They're still making $12 billion a year. It's still a $12 billion company, and it's failing. But here's the thing. I will say with inflation, all things like that, you should still gradually go up. You know what I'm saying? But if you're making $12 billion a year, like you're still making money, I'm guessing.
Went down a tiny bit the following year. The CEO of Yum Brands confirmed that the results were disappointing, and as far as I could tell, it's mostly been abandoned. If anything, it probably just alienated their existing customers more than anything.
They didn't bring back stuffed hot dog crust? That wasn't a thing. Wait, stuffed hot dog crust? That's not a thing, right?
Introducing new menu items that appeal to their customers. I'm just saying that the Bigfoot pizza was a little more successful than the cockadoodle bacon. That's a weird sentence. The second part of their trouble.
I heard this one time Mr. J went to Pizza Hut and was disappointed. It wasn't a hut made of pizza. True.
I believe it can be attributed to being slow to delivery. And I don't mean taking over 30 minutes to deliver a pizza so then it's too cold.
I think it was tiny bite crust.
To make pizza
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. The little, yep, I know what you're talking about.
Here's what I mean. Historically, pizza is like the most common thing to have delivered, right? I mean, now more than ever, but it's been happening for a while. Before 2020, before online shopping, before any of it, people were having pizzas delivered. However, Pizza Hut was once famous for their family-friendly, sit-down restaurants. In the beginning of this video, when you were thinking back to those memories of birthday parties and personal pan pizzas, which is another Pizza Hut innovation, by the way, they took place inside of a Pizza Hut.
Oh my god! So that's such nostalgia.
Which is another Pizza Hut innovation, by the way. They took place.
Oh man, such nostalgia. Guys, do you remember going there? Buffet was like over here. Oh man, is that a tube TV? Guys, tell me right here at the bottom that's a tube TV. That is amazing.
Inside of a Pizza Hut, not at home eating pizza delivered by Pizza Hut. It was like an event. It was an outing. It was not just about the food.
I think what they're saying, my pizza never delivered growing up. To be fair, nothing delivered. I think that was because I kind of what they just talked about. If you delivered, then that took away from the experience of coming into the restaurant, right? You go into the restaurant, you usually spend more. You like want to get drinks, you want to get appetizers, maybe you want to get a dessert pizza or something. So I feel like delivery didn't really catch on till later because restaurants wanted you to come into their store because then when you go into the place, you usually spend more money, right? So that I think that was why.
In fact, they didn't even offer pizza delivery at a large scale until 1986, and the only reason they did it then was because Domino's had been so successful with it. You might even say that Pizza Hut's lack of delivery during those times is a big reason that Domino's was even able to get their foot in the door in the first place. I do have to say that after a late start, they
Pun
have been
intended.
aggressive with it, but I think the issue is that it's such a fundamental change as far as the public's perception. They've had all of these crazy marketing attempts to try to make people associate Pizza Hut with delivery. In 1989, they famously delivered pizza to the White House. In 2001, they delivered it into outer space. In 2016, they delivered it onto Mount Kilimanjaro. When they closed those 500 locations, the reason for it was to eliminate the dining area and to reopen them as smaller buildings. Their fastest growing store models are the smaller ones that they call Delco, short for delivery and carryout, and part of
Well, but here's the thing. I feel like nowadays, how pizza in general, okay, chat. When was the last time that you actually went into a chain restaurant to sit and eat? No, I say chain, like Papa John's, Little Caesars, Pizza Hut, Domino's, the chain restaurant, not like your local pizzas, you know, you're kind of like mom pop owned pizza shops. No, not like this. Obviously, yeah, the mom pop owned, like you want to go in and sit there, it's great pizza. But like your chain restaurants, Pizza Hut, Domino's, Papa John's, all those main chains, when was the last time you actually went in and sat down and ate pizza in store? Hardly ever. Everybody always delivers now. We're lazy. We don't want to go anywhere. We want the pizza. We want the food delivered to us. We want to be able to walk to the door and back to the dinner table to eat our food. We don't want to get up, walk to the car, drive, park, walk from the parking lot into the restaurant. No, we don't want to do all that. We want to go from our door to the table and eat.
Part of their reasoning is that if every time you see a Pizza Hut, it's a little tiny building, you're going to reconfigure your mind and associate them with delivery. So to summarize all of this, Pizza Hut is a very different place than it used to be. They've been around for long enough to have the world change around them. Parts of what made them popular before are no longer relevant, and they've been forced to adapt to those changes. Whereas some of their competitors, like Domino's or Little Caesars, first grew in that new environment, if that makes any sense.
It's true.
It's
true.
like Pizza Hut is the older generation struggling to fit in with the new one. Some of their attempts to do it do seem to be a little slow or potentially misguided.
Or just fix your pizza. How about that?
They know where they need to go, they just don't know exactly how to get there.
No, they should have fixed their pizza. Their pizza's garbage.
Progress in the right direction. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about Pizza Hut? How have they changed over the years, and how has your perception of them changed? Do you even like their pizzas, or do you prefer one of their competitors? I do want to re-ask that.
I literally just told you, man.
Different results. So be sure to check the community tab of this channel if you want to.
I literally just told you. Like, they need to fix their pizza. Like, I don't understand. You know, here's the thing. I'm telling you, their pizza like this thin nowadays. It's super greasy. Like, their stuffed crust is good, but like every pizza company that has a stuffed crust is usually good. But what do you guys think? I've kind of, honestly, don't remember the last time I've eaten at a Pizza Hut. I do feel that Pizza Hut is declining, but I also feel like it's because the rise of pizza itself is so big right now that everyone is putting their own spins on things. They're doing deep dish, they're doing stuffed crust, they're doing pan, they're doing traditional thin crust, all these different styles of pizza with their own spin on it, that it's like Pizza Hut isn't your only option anymore. So people, don't want it. They're like, oh, I would rather go to this local shop. I'd rather go to, this place where my neighbors told me about, word of mouth. We know a Pizza Hut. We've been there before. We want to try something else. So I think it's just they had their run. They were big for a long, long time. I just think they got to step aside and let everybody move over and move over and let everybody else have their moment in the sun. But what do you guys think? Do you think Pizza Hut's on a decline, or do you think that it's still relevant today? Let me know in the comments below.